What's going on, YouTube family? Today we're going to be talking about the statement that's literally setting the automotive world on fire. Ford CEO actually came out and said that there's a massive shortage of technicians, but more importantly, he says he doesn't know why technicians are quitting and why no new ones are signing up. Now, everybody's always going to say it's about the money, but it's much more than that. So I'm going to explain what it's like to become a technician, all the problems you have, and why so many people are quitting. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. You're in high school, you're sitting in shop class, and you find out you really like working on cars and you're pretty good at it. So you start telling your teachers and your friends, you like working on cars, you want to get into the automotive industry. Now, what is everybody telling the education system? Oh, trades are bad. You want to work with your hands. You want to work with your brain, work smarter, not harder. They try to force you to get some sort of computer science degree or basket weaving degree, And so already from the get-go, you have thousands of kids that would be great technicians basically peer pressured out of getting into the industry. So now we already lose thousands of people right from the get-go, and now you have only a few thousand dedicated people from across the United States that want to go be a mechanic. So what's the next step? Well, you either intern at a shop and go that route, or you go to trade school. So a lot of kids decide to go to trade school, WyoTech, ATI, UTI, a handful of those community college, and they take a 2-year course to learn how to be the best technician they can possibly be. While doing this, they're racking up, anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 in student loan debt. But it doesn't matter because when you get out, you see automotive technicians making $30 to $50 an hour, and that's flat rate, so you can get even more money if you work hard. So it's no big deal. So you get out of school, you intern at a shop, you start working on maybe getting some ASCs. So this way, when you apply for jobs, it looks like you know what you're doing. So you go ahead and apply for a job at Ford and you tell them, hey, look, I got 2 years of technical training. I got 1 summer of internship. I took a few tests. I got a few ASCs. I'm ready to be a beginning technician for you guys. Where can I start? Ford will look at you flat out and say, you know what, we're going to pay you $10 an hour. And all you could do for the first year is change oil. So now you're a young automotive technician, that just got out here. You probably got a car, an apartment. You got $80,000 in student loan debt. And now you're going to make $10 an hour changing oil. Well, you got to do it for a year, but you're dedicated. So you start changing oil. Well, guess what? Now you got to buy anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 in hand tools to make sure that you can do all the types of oil changes and start building your toolkit. So you start on that. So now we have $10,000 in tool debt and $80,000 in student loan debt. You put your head down and you work really, really hard and you change oil for 1 year. After 1 year, you go to your service manager. I've been doing a great job. I have no problems, no complaints. I want to go ahead and move up. So he moves you up to being a helper. Your job is to basically do oil changes and help a technician anytime he needs help working on a vehicle, whether that's changing an alternator, maybe doing brakes, very small things. But guess what? Now that you've done this, you have to buy more tools. So now let's add another $10,000 on there. So now you got $20,000 in tools, you're making $12 an hour, and you still have your $80,000 student loan debt. But it doesn't matter. You're going to be a master tech before you know it, and you're going to be making great money. So just keep going. So now after a year of getting into debt with more tools and still paying your student loans, you're finally there. You become a beginning technician. You're ready to go ahead and get started on all the work. Well, guess what? When you're a new tech, you got to have your own toolbox, your own scanner, and all these other tools. So let's just add another $20,000 on top of that to get some more tools. So now you're $40,000 in debt with tools, $80,000 still with your student loans, and you're making maybe $20 to $25 an hour being a new flat rate starting technician. So you're super excited. You're going to put your head down. You're going to work as hard as you can to be the best technician you can because you want to show the service manager that you're in it to win it. So the first week out the gate, you work 60 hours nonstop. You're super excited. You're like, I worked hard. I can't wait to see my first paycheck. You get your first paycheck. It's for 30 hours. You stop. You're like, well, I work 60 hours. Why am I only getting paid for 30? So you go to a service manager. You say, I don't understand. Please explain. And the service manager is going to tell you, oh, well, a lot of the jobs you did were very small jobs. And more importantly, they're warranty jobs. So if this was a regular job, it'd pay you 3 hours. But because it's a warranty job, we're going to pay you 1.1 hours. And so you get upset and you're like, well, okay, well, what about that suspension job I did that was 12 hours? I did that, from top to bottom. It was a great job. Why am I not getting paid on that? Where is that? So the service manager is going to tell him, well, the customer came back on your day off, was complaining about a squeak. And so we had another technician look at it. They tightened the bolt and now you have to give half your hours to that guy and poof, that's it. So all of a sudden, now he truly knows what it's like to be a mechanic. At any time, they can take your hours away and the hours that you're supposed to flag or get rate for are not always what they seem. The dealerships are always changing these numbers in their favor. So even though, you're not deterred, you're like, you know what, I'm still going to work hard. I'm going to become a master tech no matter what. So you get back to work. You put your head down. You put another years of work in. You put more tools in. You work on all these cars. And remember, you're paying all this debt and still trying to buy a house, buy a car. Hopefully you don't have a family because you can't afford one, and just keep grinding at it. And guess what happens? You hit your 4th year. And you're like, great, look, I'm ready to be a tech. What do I need to do to become a certified Ford tech? Ford will be like, you know what? We don't have a lightning tech. Go to the school and become a lightning tech. So now you have to take time out of your day, which you're not getting paid for. And in some dealerships cases, they make you pay for the travel and the stay. So you're losing money going to training to help this dealership. But you're doing it because you want to show Ford that you're dedicated to becoming a certified Ford tech, and you're hoping that you'll be rewarded with all this work once you're the only certified Ford tech in your shop. So you get back from school, you have to buy more tools because remember, now you're a certified Ford Lightning tech. So let's add another, $10,000. So now what are you, $40,000, $50,000 in debt with tools, another $80,000 from student loan debt, and you're still trying to pay whatever you can for your expenses for living conditions. Now this is when you're supposed to shine. So the new tech goes ahead and starts grinding as hard as he can. He works every single day doing all the Ford warranty work because he thought that if he did this class, he would be a dedicated asset for the Ford dealership. And guess what? The more he worked, the more classes he took to become a certified Ford Lightning mechanic, all he did was get buried with warranty work. And warranty work does not pay. To give you an example, if there's a 6-hour job, warranty may pay you 2 hours to do that. So instead of getting 6 hours of pay, you're forced to do it in 2 hours. And even worse, if you have to diagnose something, sometimes they only give you a half hour or an hour to diagnose it, and it could take you several hours to figure out what the problem is. This is the problem that dealerships have. It's not the money thing, it's how they're changing the pay structure because they're still figuring out ways to screw mechanics. So now you have this young guy that's invested, over $100,000 in his education and tools, and he's been working for you for 4 years, and he's barely making, if you equivalent out, stretch across the board, $15 an hour. He'd be better off going to McDonald's, making $20 an hour, doing mindless zombie work, flipping burgers, than trying to be better mechanic, learn his craft, get better tools, and help the dealership become a better shop because he's going out of his way to take classes. This is the problem we're having. This is why Ford, every other dealership, every other repair shop can't find technicians, is because the system is flawed. Instead of treating this person as a valuable asset, like, wow, this guy went out of his way, he's our certified Ford tech, let's take care of him. They always bury him with crappy work. Usually the one shop has the favorite tech that only gets the gravy work and everybody else is screwed. And this is the problem we have. And no matter how many times I do dealership training or I go somewhere else and I tell people, your most valuable person at your dealership is not your best salesman. You could find another sales rock star like that. It's finding a qualified technician. If you don't believe me, I tell any dealership that's watching this, prove me wrong. I can go to any restaurant and find a waitress or waiter. It'll take me about 60 to 90 days, but I can turn that person into a good salesperson. I cannot do that with an automotive technician. It takes years of education. It takes years of experience to find a good tech. Now, you can go anywhere on the internet or even look at any job posting. They're always looking for great mechanics or great technicians. But at the same point, why can't they keep one? Anytime I've ever gotten one, I always had to overpay. And people are like, why would you overpay? If he wants this or he's doing this, why give it to him? Like, because it costs more to replace that person than it is to just pay him a few extra bucks, give him some sort of bonuses, whatever it takes to keep them happy, to keep them at your dealership making money. But every dealership training I go to, they always say, oh, I can find another guy. He was too much of a diva. I don't want to deal with him. And I always say, you know what? How long has that guy been with you? 4 or 5 years. Okay. When was your last best tech before that? Oh, it was maybe 2 years before that. Okay. Well, now you're going to have 4 years of not having a great certified tech because he's going to go somewhere else. They're going to bend over backwards for him. They're going to overpay him and you ain't never going to see that guy. And that's what happens at every dealership I've ever been to. They hire a tech. They get him trained up. The tech's not happy. They're like, well, we'll just replace you. Forget you. Get out of here. And then guess what happens? That guy goes somewhere else. And now they're begging and finding, trying to chase people to replace him. And they're basically overpaying for somebody that's not as qualified to get into that position, where the guy that took that guy is never going to let him go. Every time I got a good tech that somebody let go, I would go out of my way to make them happy. So this way they wouldn't get called back. And that's what happens. The majority of these techs leave and then they get called, oh, could you come back? We have all these cars and we can't get anything. We can't hire anybody. I know techs, you could offer them $10 more an hour. They still wouldn't go because of just dealing with the BS. I keep telling dealers, You have to change the way you're doing this. And if Ford's watching this, this is why franchise dealerships will never keep good quality techs, because you reward them by getting more certifications, more training, and all you do is take away their pay. And I know you guys say, we don't take away their pay, we just give them warranty work. If you give them a $5 pay raise and now they're making, let's say, $45 an hour, if you cut the labor hours in half, that's worse. That's like making $10 an hour. It doesn't matter what you're paying them hourly if you're cutting out the book rate. And that's what kills me. And every time I tell GMs, owners, factory reps, whatever else, they get upset. Oh, we don't make the book hours. Bullshit. Yes, you do. All of us, we go to Mitchell On Demand, all data, and it'll say, hey, look, this pays 8 hours. Pay me to do it in 8 hours. Oh, but warranty says you can do it in 2.2 hours. Bullshit. It's never going to happen. It's never going to work. You're never going to keep techs. And guess what? Mark my words. I promise you, within 5 years, if a majority of certified techs are not making $50 plus an hour, it's done. Like, there's no way you're going to keep a tech, because it's better for him just to go out and do stuff himself. Like, even right now, you could be a regular novice tech and become a mobile mechanic and go change brake pads, and you can make $100 to $200 in an hour with no stress, no headache, and you could do 3 or 4 of those brake jobs a day. You're making $400 or $500 a day. Why gruel over getting into a dealership, basically working yourself to death for flat rate, and then on top of that, you're not even getting real bookable hours. You're getting warranty time or some BS, or you're giving those hours away to somebody else. I'm telling you, this is why this will never change. So, sorry for the rant, but this is truly what makes me mad, and this is always the same thing that people complain about. Like, I don't understand why. This is why. You will never keep a good tech as long as you have this antiquated system that basically screws technicians. So I'd love to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think? Techs, if you see this, please share it with your friends, because I've said this a million times. Every time I go to an NADA, any of these shows, and people are crying they can't find good techs, I'm like, this is why. Your system is screwed up. If you were smart, just like sports leagues, you would cultivate talent in your local area. Local dealerships would basically sponsor high school auto repair shop sites. They would donate cars for these guys to fix. The teacher would come to you, hey, we got this really talented kid. His name's Bob. Bob loves cars. Next, you need to send that general manager out there, talk to Bob. Hey, when you graduate high school, we're going to bring you in for a summer internship, or we're going to give you a summer job. You're going to sweep and clean, but you're going to see how the shops work. You cultivate that talent so it stays there locally with you instead of going somewhere else, or letting the teachers or our shitty education system get in their heads, telling them they need to go get a basket weaving degree for $200,000 because a degree means more than working with your hands. Anyways, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, please put in the comment section below what you guys think of this, because I always try to share this back end stuff with people, and it really upsets me that when I hear the Ford CEO say this. I love Ford, but that was probably the most retarded thing he had to say. You know why they're not coming. It's all about pay. Salespeople, sales managers, everybody else's pay is going up except the technicians, and you're wrong for it. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next video.